Hello, guys. We're back with another election prediction. This time it's my final 2022 governor races prediction, or governor map prediction, or gubernatorial prediction. Either one of those names could fit this series. So let's head to the safe Democratic states. Some things have changed recently. There's been some new polls, especially by the Emerson pollster, which I really trust their polling. I think it's honestly pretty decent overall. So and plus, we could pretty confidently call a lot of these states as just safe Republican, especially Alaska, which in the second round of polling, it looks like the Alaskan Republican governor is just going to win outright. So that's safe Republican. Iowa and Ohio, they're just pretty safe for the Republicans. Vermont and New Hampshire as well. Liberal Republicans in both these states. And DeSantis, just according to the early vote and the polls, I could confidently say DeSantis is winning by 12% in the state of Florida. I think he's easily going to win. He's probably going to win Miami-Dade at this point, just according to the early vote numbers we have seen so far. I can say that he's probably going to be winning here by a decent margin. Now we could get into the likely states. So I want to start in the Northeast in New England with Rhode Island. So far, the incumbent Democrat hasn't led in a poll by over 50%, which is why I'm keeping this in the likely column. I think he wins by high single digits, 8 to 9% victory. Now, Maine, I'm shifting from likely Democratic to lean Democratic. Survey USA only shows the Democratic governor up here by 6 points. So the race is tightened a bit in Maine. It's going to be going down to a 4% or 4.5% win margin for Governor Mills. It's getting decently closer, but Paula Page is just still pretty unpopular in the state of Maine. Maryland and Massachusetts are just easy Democratic flips. There's just very far-right Republicans running in both these governor seats, and they're not going to be winning them, I could say with confidence. In New York, my home state, Zeldin does have a bit of a good ground game in this state. I have to give it to him. I am seeing it myself in person, but just because he's doing well on Long Island and at upstate New York doesn't mean he's going to win. It's all about the New York City turnout, and I still think Zeldin's going to lose by about 7 points. I think Hochul will beat him by about 7 to 8, probably 7. I would agree on that margin. 7% win margin for Hochul. It's a very Democratic state, however, he has narrowed the gap significantly, and that'll definitely help Republicans down for the House races down ballot. However, there's a bit of a disconnect. I mean, not all Zeldin supporters are voting for Republicans in the House ballot, but it will help them decently. Democrats are a bit freaking out about this New York governor race. I saw a CNN article about it, and they're nervous about losing it because of turnout, but I think a lot of people are planning to vote on Election Day. So, again, I don't think he has a chance at winning. I think it's like a 10% chance, maybe even lower than that in the state of New York. In Pennsylvania, it's a very sure bet that, honestly, Doug Mastriano is going to lose. He's not going to win. He's going to lose by 8 to 9 points to Josh Shapiro. It's possible Josh Shapiro even wins by 12, as polls are saying. I'm saying it's going to be a 9% victory here. And that might have some coattails for the Senate race with John Fetterman. That might just bring John Fetterman slightly over the top against Dr. Oz in the state of Pennsylvania, which I currently see happening in the Senate race there. Now, in Minnesota, Scott Jensen's going to lose. Every poll that's independent shows it. I mean, Trafalgar is trying to wish cast a Republican victory here in the state of Minnesota. That's not going to happen. It's not going to flood. The closest it's going to get is a 4% victory for his Democratic governor here. I don't think he's going to lose. I think he's going to beat his far-right opponent by probably 7 to 8 points. Now in Michigan, Tudor Dixon's still going to lose. I think she's going to lose by 4, honestly. I don't know why Real Clear Politics is saying it's going to be a GOP flip. Not every poll is going to have the same polling error that it had in the 2020 election. And plus, even the Republican pollsters are saying she's still behind in the state of Michigan. So I still think Tudor Dixon is going to lose by about 4% to Gretchen Whitmer. Now we could get into Georgia. Georgia, it's pretty sure that Brian Kemp's going to win here by a likely margin, and that might have some coattails for Walker slightly finishing ahead of Warnock in the Georgia Senate race. However, the Georgia Senate race is going to go to a runoff, and in a runoff, Brian Kemp is not going to be on the ballot because he's easily going to win over 50% in the Georgia governor race. In Texas, I still think Beto O'Rourke's not going to lose by a solid Republican margin. I think Greg Abbott's probably going to win by about 8 to 9 points, probably like 8.5. I would say Abbott wins by against Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke did visit every county in Texas, which is remarkable for a candidate for Texas. He's really trying his best to win it, but he's just too far left to win this state. He's not the moderate he claimed he was in 2018, so he's still going to lose here. In Oklahoma, we have pretty much a Republican versus a former Republican. So that's the only reason this race is likely. Joff Hoifmeister, hope I'm saying her name right. She is making it a likely Republican race, and this is a sleeper flip. Democrats maybe could win it if there's a lot of turnout. Keep an eye on this race. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it's even solid Republican, but at the best case scenario for Dems, it goes to lean GOP, but it's for now likely, I would say. People are really mad at how Kevin Stint is running the state, especially in the education department. They're really mad about that. So keep an eye on it. Colorado is going to be safe Democratic. Don't really think it's going to be that competitive, honestly. I think the Democrats are going to win by over 10% here because the Republican nominee for governor, she's just not serious enough to win the state as a contender. Now, let's see, the state of Arizona and Nevada. I think we could safely say that Kari Lake's probably going to win here by about 2% against Katie Hobbs. However, the race is tightening by a decent amount. So I'm putting this state into the lean GOP column for now. The state of Nevada, just based off the mail-in ballots and the early voting, Democrats don't have enough of a lead to win this state unless they get amazing election day turnout. So I just think Joe Lombardo's favored here, and I do think he's going to win by about 2% or even 2.5%. Just because I think there'll be some ticket splitting with the Senate race and the governor race. I think Lombardo's going to win by a bigger margin than Adam Laxalt. Now in New Mexico, the polling has shifted this race from likely to lean D. I still think I think her name is Grisham. I think she's still going to beat Mark Ronchetti by a lean margin, probably by about 4%. I would say he's a very good candidate for New Mexico. You have to give it to him. He made the Senate race closer than expected in 2020, and in 2022, it could be a sleeper flip for Republicans in New Mexico. They might have a real shot here, but I still think Democrats are narrowly favored to win this state by 4 points against him. All right. In Wisconsin, it's probably going to be one of the closest states in the 2022 gubernatorial races, but I think Tim Mitchell's just slightly fair because Ron Johnson's going to probably win the Senate race by a decent amount, which means he might bring over that governor candidate over by like 0.5%. I think it's going to go to Tim Mitchell's by 0.5, just because Republicans are going to be turning out heavily in this state, and they're probably still going to beat Tony Evers and flip this seat red. Now in Oregon, with the new polling from Emerson and new polls in general, Betsy Johnson's support is completely plummeted to 9% when it used to be 16%. Even 8% it's going down to, and all those voters are swapping to the Democrat Tina Kotek. I think, as I've been saying before, I think a lot of these independent voters who were voting for Johnson in the first place have realized Johnson has no path to victory anymore. At this point, they just don't want to elect Drazen because they just don't trust a Republican to run the state of Oregon, which is why all these independent supporters of Johnson are just shifting to the Democrats, and it's going to keep continuing over and over again, where I think Kotek's going to probably win by about 2 to 3 points, probably 2.5%, just average the two. I think she'll pull off a narrow victory against Christine Drazan in the state of Oregon because Betsy Johnson's support is completely plummeted. I mean, you can take a look at the Emerson poll. That's pretty much what it's showing in the state of Oregon. In the state of Kansas, the only pollster to really poll this race was Emerson, and they said she's up by 5 points against the Republican. I don't think she's going to win by 5 points. I think she's going to win by 2 in this state because of Republican enthusiasm. It's mainly because the independent candidate, Dennis Pyle, is taking a lot of votes away, 5% of the votes, in fact, away from Republicans in this state. So overall, it's 28-22 for the Democrats and Republicans in the governor races. I mean, if Democrats want to have a great night, flip Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada. They could still do it if they get a very good election day turnout. But so far, what I'm seeing, this is how these races are going to be playing out in the 2022 gubernatorial elections. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video tomorrow, which is on election day, I'm pretty sure. So that's going to be my house race, my final house races predictions. Tune into that. I'll see you guys in the next video.